Today is day 37 of the longest ever government shutdown. And American families and American workers are paying the price for Democrats to put on a show. From poetry being read at night, to protests, to press conferences, it's a high price to pay. And that means our troop, federal law enforcement officers, air traffic controllers, other essential personnel, families in need that go paycheck to paycheck aren't getting a paycheck. For 6 weeks, Americans, many of whom our lives depend on, have wondered how they're going to pay their bills or keep food on the table for their families. It's ridiculous that because of this ongoing lapse in funding, heroes who protect and defend us are suffering. In fact, I found it incredible and embarrassing that the U.S. Army has published guidance on the IRS website, on their website, directing soldiers in Germany to emergency service benefits, loans, food banks, and food sharing organizations where volunteers provide leftover food through public fridges. These are our soldiers working day in and day out, far away from home, away from their loved ones. Indeed, the oldest boy in our family serves in the Army. And he said he's not worried about himself, but he's worried about his friends that have kids and wonder if they're going to get paid. We have federal law enforcement officers working tirelessly to get deadly drugs out of our communities and take down dangerous gangs like Tren de Aragua, doing it for free without being paid. Because my colleagues are using the American people as political leverage. My Democratic colleagues have voted 14 times to keep our government closed, all while collecting their paychecks. Let me say that again. Our troops, our law enforcement officers, so many essential government employees are still working without pay because the Democrats will not vote to open this government, and my Democratic colleagues are still getting their paychecks. And it's far past time to end this. Maybe if my Democratic colleagues weren't getting paid, or maybe if we posted on the Senate website that they could go to food banks and food sharing organizations and public institutions to get food, they might think twice about voting no on reopening this government. Voting no 14 times just to continue the funding that we spent last year. I've committed to donating my own paycheck during this shutdown to a crisis center back in Florida. And I'm glad to know there are others that have committed to donating their pay during this time to help others. The American people did not send us here to let the government shut down and stop working. And our colleagues that are forcing this upon the American people and on our workers do so against the will of the people, against those that put them in office, against the wishes of even workers' groups that have historically supported Democratic candidates. We were sent here to do important work and govern in good faith on behalf of the people. Americans should be furious at the display of recklessness with their country. I understand the president's frustration. I understand our leaders' frustration. I am livid. I've been here 10 months. It is no wonder people across America hate DC. We have much work to do to make this country stronger and safer. So I urge my colleagues to end this shutdown. Stay here until we get it done. Stay here until we pass the clean continuing resolution so we can continue the people's work. And while we're at it, let's pass legislation to make sure this cannot happen again. We could start with the No Budget, No Pay Act, meaning none of us here in Congress get paid unless we pass a budget and fund the government. That's common sense. Senators and representatives shouldn't be paid until Congress does its base level job. We should also pass legislation to make sure that those in Congress don't leave DC until we deliver and we keep government functioning. That's why I'm co-sponsoring the Eliminate Shutdowns Act and other legislation that would make sure this does not happen again and ensures that our government remains open. And those heroes that put their lives on the line for us get paid. We owe it to the American people to ensure the government remains open, and we should not have another shutdown period. 37 days of chaos, uncertainty, and dysfunction is a disservice to the Americans we are here to represent, and this must end. Government must work for the people. If showboating politicians begin sabotaging the very operation of our government, corrupting rules, warping those rules' intended use to satisfy a subversive agenda, all options need to be on the table. Those options can take many forms, but this cannot continue. And maybe I should put this in terms that even my Democratic colleagues can understand. Maybe the Senate needs to reimagine the filibuster. Let's make Congress work again. And until we can do that, maybe we need to lock Congress in the Capitol until that happens. No bail, no revolving Capitol door. Let's get it done, Mr. President. I yield back.